Welcome, everybody, to the Stoned Fruit Roll-Up. I am your host, Rebecca Gunter, and you are watching the Stoned Fruit Roll-Up. As I started off the show saying already, this is the weekly show that is the digital sandbox and platform for Stoned Fruit, the company. And oftentimes those two things get a little bit conflated. And so I thought today would be an awesome day to run a solo show and walk you through what's the deal here? What's the deal with Stoned Fruit? What's the deal here? What is this company? Why do you do the things you do? How do you do the things you do? What's available for engagement? What's available for services? How does it all work, etc.? So if you are an entrepreneur type, particularly if you are the kind of person who believes that unique and original, very strong brand is going to be the key to standing out like a meerkat in a massive mediocre, as I like to say, then I encourage you to stick around and see what's on the Stoned Fruitstand, and how do we work with people, and how do we co-create, collaborate, and conspire to put out some juicy marketing. So I am so thrilled for folks who are here today. I'd like to shout out to Kathleen Stewart, who hasn't changed her name yet, but is an integral part of what we do here at Stoned Fruit. She is my ride or die. She's the reason that things happen. So I'm super happy Kathleen is here, because she's been encouraging me to do a show like this for a while. So that is awesome sauce. Thanks, girl. Thanks for stopping by. Folks, if you're new here or you've been here for a while, I think it's always worthy to take a step back and really look at our kind of position in the star map of the business arena. Who are we? Who are our people? What do they need? Who are we? What did we deliver? And why are we special, different, or the one? And so Stoned Fruit is at its heart a content marketing production house, as it were. We function like an micro agency. We specialize in articulating a brand voice to strengthen your brand. We do that through coaching. We do that through consulting, one-on-one private clients. We do that through collaborating on larger projects with other creatives who are also participating in this arena of making awesome marketing and building a name for yourself, building your brand. What does that mean exactly? Everybody has a different idea of what building a brand means. But to me, building a brand is bringing your reputation to words, actions, and bringing your reputation to life in words, actions, and images. And that is what we do here. Is we do an extremely deep and intimate dive into what makes you tick, what's your special sauce, your unique differentiator, your unique value proposition, etc. It's deep, collaborative, fun, one-on-one entrepreneur for entrepreneur work, in which we dive into all of the aspects of what makes you completely awesome at what you do when you hang out your own shingle. And then we get you the content and the assets and the marketing to match in a brand voice that is instantly recognizable, totally unignorable, but also completely compelling and approachable. And more important than that, converting. Woo woo! Thanks for coming by in the comments. Our number one fan, Tony Pareco. Appreciate you so much. Tony was kind enough to give me a little sound check before we got on mic today, so we make sure that everybody has an awesome sound experience. And that is his jam, as he's a podcast producer and an audio engineer and an all-around incredibly fantastic person when it comes to creating something that you're going to hear through your earbuds. He's positively obsessed with the way that we communicate through podcasting, etc., and it shows. So thanks for coming, Tony. Woot woot. All right, what is the deal? What's the deal with Stoned Fruit? I'm going to bring you through a screen share, and we're going to look at some things on the website, and then I've got some examples for folks. So essentially, if you stick around in the early part of the show, I'll show you exactly kind of what it is that we're doing here, what's our reason for living, how do we help clients, and then if you want to stick around after that, fingers crossed, please do, because I'm going to show you some examples, and I'm really proud of this stuff. So I can geek out about my own copy and the copy of colleagues and the creative endeavors of colleagues around me. So let us get into it. Bear with me on the tech. Bear with me on the tech. Bear with me on the tech, you guys. Bear with me on the tech. Okay. So first and foremost, you can find out more about us at stonedfruit.com/about if you want. That's where this page is, STONEDFRUIT. We're muddling along here on this adorable little website. It is a creative passion that is just really kind of me muddling my way with the support of Kathleen and Calvin Nelson on graphics and Taylor Campia on photography. So this is my humble little home. So we've got a website here for folks to explore. And I think that the easiest way for us to kind of walk through what's on the menu here at Stoned Fruit is to really think about services and what is available. So as I said at the top of the show, we specialize in content creation or content development in an original, unique, one-of-a-kind way. You will never see it. Your point of view will never be replicated, and that comes to life here in the work that we do. We do brand and messaging strategy. We do creative copywriting and content, and we do private one-on-one coaching and consulting. So that's really like the three arms of how the agency is put together, and it's all run by your humble hero, Peach in Chief. That's me, Rebecca Gunter, and also with the support of my team like Kathleen and our creative partners like Tony here in the comments. And so when you start, I think it might be worthwhile to just really think about when you are making an effort. Oh, wouldn't it be nice if I actually shared my screen? Wouldn't that be nice if I actually did that? Thank you. Hey, Jody. Oh, Jody's going to see me muddling along here in a solo show. Jody Krangle has been such an important part of what we do here at Stoned Fruit. She is a voiceover artist, and she knows more about that industry than anyone I've ever known. And she is so generous and kind to people, and we're so thrilled to see her here. So, Jody, thanks for being here as we shuffle along on a solo show, really outlining the business of Stoned Fruit, which isn't an easy topic. It is so much easier for me to interview someone else about what makes them awesome, which is how I do that voodoo that I do so well, but it also can sometimes prove a challenge as just straightforwardly telling y'all what's on the menu. So when people come to me, they generally come to Stoned Fruit for a few reasons, and most of it is that they need words that work. They need to be able to put out website copy and email their list, and perhaps put out an ad or develop a white paper about their thought leadership, or create a platform for themselves, or essentially communicate with their audience in a way that is deeply connecting. And the struggle is to find out what your words are, how to articulate what that is, what your special sauce is. When people ask you your differentiator, what do you say? When folks ask about your clients, what do you say? What is the kind of work you do? Sometimes we get really trapped in resume speak, or we make a lot of assumptions that what we're great at, everybody's great at. I'm sure Jody spent a few years thinking everybody could, set up a microphone and bring the emotional context and deliver audio branding that super connects with people, until she started seeing that she was truly unique and was able to find and articulate her voice. And so that is when people generally start to feel uncomfortable, or they look around and they recognize that their brand truly does look and sound like everybody else. If you are a coach and you went to, you enrolled in B school and you downloaded all the templates and everybody else around you did the same, and you're using your templates to communicate with your people, you get trapped in what I adorably call like the Marie Forleo, house of fun mirrors, in which everyone kind of sounds exactly the same because they're using the same template. That's another reason that people will come to us. And then the third reason is that they have a very unique brand. They're a disruptor. They swim upstream. They have an unpopular idea. They're bucking convention. They're industry kind of agitators. They see a way to do it differently and better, and they're not quiet about it, or they're saying the quiet part out loud, and they haven't really found anybody who can match that energy necessarily and vibe and vibe with that. And then you start to feel lost. So you're kind of back around. I need to know my position and understand my position. I need to really get my uniqueness and be able to communicate that. I need people to see and read my stuff and instantly recognize that that's me, so they can be seen as a recognized authority. Jody's commenting that she loves Marie Forleo. Absolutely, I'm not punching down at the content, but that is generally where I see a lot of people pull a template and then start just iterating from the template, and then everything kind of sounds the same. If you've ever gotten affiliate marketing from someone you work with who's basically kind of pitching another person, there's kind of an art to that as a copywriter, to pitch another person without sounding like like late night infomercial TV. You can see that the scripts all kind of sound exactly the same, and that it's not her fault. She's doing the thing. It's just usually when folks come to Stoned Fruit, it's because they need to break out of that cocoon, not cocoon, but kind of come out of the chrysalis and be themselves and be unique. Thank you to Kathleen, who was just saying this. Who's just saying this because she works here. But building my brand has changed me. Tried to figure out for 3 years why I didn't feel comfortable showing up, and hit the ground running after that. That is no bullshit, y'all. I've known Kathleen for 3.5 years. Maybe we've worked together in several different iterations. And when we did not essentially 2 hours of positioning work, this kind of deep, intimate, one-on-one coaching experience where we pulled out the answer to who are your people, what do they need, who are you, what do you deliver, and why are you special, different, or the one. Kathleen rolled with it. We came up with an idea to start kind of an academy for entry-level entrepreneurship for women who are changing their story. And she has that thing practically built out in a 10-week course already. The confidence that you get from really articulating what your brand is the key to strengthening it, living uniquely as yourself, owning your own voice, and then having the courage to use it, because you don't have to be insecure when you put out thought leadership that's been ghostwritten, because you already know that the product is going to be there and it's going to be awesomely valuable for yourself. So this is the piece in which we start. Either we're defining your brand like we did with Kathleen in a Define Your Brand workshop. Essentially, I'm taking 90 minutes to do a deep discovery with you and your team if you've got one, or if you want to include them, the more the merrier. And then we start to distill down and drill down on those ideas to formulate a positioning statement and a messaging strategy that then informs every single thing that you do. It becomes the way in which you breathe into and begin to live your brand, essentially. I know that sounds like manifesting a little crunchy granola, but when you have the words, and since words have deep, impactful meaning on how we see ourselves, when you finally have those words and they come to you instantaneously and you can just absorb them and embody them, then you're going to know exactly who your people are when you see them. You're going to be able to articulate what they need and meet those needs. And by their needs, I don't mean I need someone who will take responsibility for this piece. They generally have a very big kind of a goal or a change that they want to see in the world, and you're part of the vehicle to get them there. As you're, whether a service provider or you are an accountant or you are an executive leadership coach or you are a public speaker or you've just kind of pivoted in your career or you're a corporate consultant, it doesn't matter. You're the vehicle for that, and positioning helps you figure out how to talk about it. So that is really fun and amazing. So we start with defining your brand. We can codify all that into a brand book, and I'll show you what that looks like in the second half of the show. Or you can bring me in for a VIP day to just like hustle co-creating brand strategy and figuring all of that stuff out. There's some very cool videos on YouTube. We'll link in the show notes here in this video. Ding, ding, ding. That show you some time-lapse stuff in collaboration with King Productions, who was able to document some of this very cool work we do. So that's essentially where everybody starts. Just what is the definition of what your brand is, and how are we going to articulate it in positioning and messaging? And so then after that, really going to jump into the assets, essentially. That's what you start thinking about. Or what that's so nice that I have a positioning statement now. Like, what about website copy? What about my LinkedIn profile? What about our YouTube channel about section? All of those kind of evergreen things that make up your marketing mix or your digital media kit or however you present yourself, then needs to come to life to match that brand. So whereas generally when people think about copywriting, they kind of dive in right here, just give me the stuff. I'm gonna give you a little analogy, like for wedding cake. So if your goal, if you're an engaged person who's going to throw a special occasion called a wedding, and you want a cake for that, a special occasion cake, a wedding cake. My God, who's the wordsmith here? If you want a wedding cake, you certainly don't go to the baker and say, I want a cake that will knock the socks off of my guests and be one of the top things they talk about after they leave the wedding, and then expect you to deliver that cake without asking any questions. Are they vegan? Are they, sustainable farm to table people? Do we love ho-hos? Are we chocolate people? Do we want to veer away from a cake and have cookie tower? Is it cheesecake layer? Is there citrus? Did we meet in Hawaii and need, some sort of, I don't know, coconut theme? I'm reaching, but it requires asking a lot of questions to understand your audience so that you can deliver the cake that everybody's talking about. If you don't do that and you deliver a full buttercream to a vegan wedding, it is the cake they're going to be talking about, and not in a very good way. So do yourself a solid, define what the brand is in advance, and then you can make plans to strengthen it through your content marketing and make a mix that is more beautiful than, I don't know, a vanilla wedding cake. I don't know. I had coconut. So whatever kind of wedding cake you had, put it in the comments. I'd love to know. Okay, so then folks jump into the copywriting, and that is essentially like what's on sale in the shelves here. We can, just about anything you can think of, we can wordsmith that. And it's not always just the copy. Sometimes you need us to bring in a creative partner that Kathleen loves coconut. What'd you have, girl? What was yours? Here's a funny story about our wedding cake, actually, is that we thought we were so fancy that we had this. My husband at the time, obviously my first and only husband, the one that I used to have, when we got married, we both worked in a restaurant, and the chef there made this unbelievable coconut cake. Like, it would make you cry. If anyone's ever had Carol Greenwood's food from the old Bucks Fishing and Camping, like, you could eat it every day. Like, she was just, well. And so she made us a wedding cake to take down there. And we're so grateful. And the wedding was small. Y'all, it was like 60 people maximum, destination wedding in a yard, like in my mother-in-law's yard, which is on the beach, admittedly, but that's what it was. And so when she sent the cake down, it was like this. It was like this big. I mean, I really didn't even have a piece of it myself. It might have fed like 20, 25 people. We should have thought of that in advance. But that wedding cake was hilarious. I had to assemble it myself. I had to put the little flowers on, and I thought I was being so cute by, shipping and bringing down this coconut cake. And at the end of the day, my dad got my piece. So what are you going to do? Kathleen had vanilla. So vanilla, team vanilla. I'm a big fan of vanilla, actually. I think it's an unsung hero, but I don't love it in positioning statements. As you know, Kathleen, I like the butterscotch or the avant-garde version. Anyway, I digress. Back to copy before the gods of live streaming take their big giant hook and drag me off stage. Copywriting, website copy, think pieces. Those are really white papers, if you've heard of that. I'll show you an example of that shortly. Case studies, I'll show you an example of that. Evergreen emails, LinkedIn profile makeovers, full funnel development. Let's stop and talk about that. A full funnel. If you're in marketing at all, you've heard funnel, you gotta have your funnel. You gotta have your funnel. A funnel is essentially the way in which you intentionally kind of attract and pull people onto your list. Can a funnel, have another call to action at the end? Yes, but generally people are trying to get you engaged and bring you into their world in some sort of way. And that involves all of these pieces to go with it. There's generally the thing, whatever it is we're doing that is considered, some folks call a lead magnet. And that's something that you would trade your email address to get a thing, whether it's access to a course, a discount, a downloadable, an email, like a special email challenge, anything at all you can get to kind of get engagement with your list. So you've got to figure out what the thing is and how to brand it. Because even a download requires some sort of positioning. Otherwise, you're just throwing spaghetti against the wall. If you want to target your audience to the of the razor's edge, you're going to need something that they want. And that requires some deep thinking and some positioning. So you've got to position the thing. You're going to need a landing page for it. You need an opt-in. You need an opt-in thank you. You need a first email that goes out after the opt-in. You need whatever the thing is. You need more nurturing to go along with it. And if you do that and build, all of these wonderful funnels, then you'll have a robust and always growing mailing list, which for many of us is the key to sales. So a full funnel is just every aspect of that, what we call fruit to nuts strategy, and all of the assets that come along with it. So that's a fun project to work on. I really like that a lot. We also do original newsletters, whether you're a LinkedIn newsletter, you're using your email list to mail them once a week, you're using Substack or Medium. An original newsletter can be a real game changer, particularly if you're writing an original voice and it is speaking to your messaging. This thing can be something that folks really engage with. And so getting an original newsletter is something we do here at Stoned Fruit, and also a branded blog, not just the word blog at the top of your website and then anything you can think of to fill that feed, but something that has some intention. And we'll look at what one of those looks like in real life, in the real world, in just a little bit. And so these are some of the things that are just essentially available. Kind of think off the shelf, if you will, that is around creative copywriting. And again, if we need partnership to bring in, oh man, we really need a cover photo for this LinkedIn profile, we can have a beautiful arsenal or a quiver full of creative folks who we've worked with for years on all kinds of projects for clients who help us bring that to life. And so copywriting is generally what people come to us for, but they're really going to go through the lens of brand strategy and messaging strategy, positioning, etc., in order to get to this copy piece. But once you get there, the world is your oyster. What do you want to redo next? Eventually, what you'd want is all of your marketing pieces to come together in a beautiful, like, the golden threads of your positioning and messaging kind of weaved throughout everything that you put forth, whether it's a welcome email to a new employee or a flyer to advertise your next yappy hour at your puppy friendly patio and bar and restaurant. I'm making that up. All of those things can be infused with your branded language, your look, your feel, and together that brings your reputation to life in words, actions, and images. All right, folks. And so once you've kind of gone through the menu, etc., there's also, just want to point out that there's also an additional way to work with us, and this is through private and preferred partnership. That is coaching, or adorably named entrepretherapy. That's one-on-one intimate strategy sessions in which we're working through a particular vexation or problem. Entrepretherapy can change your life, as Kathleen said earlier. It can be the absolute kind of switch in your mind between, why don't I want to actually launch my website for the thing I know people will pay me for, and I can't wait to get this out here because I'm going to change the world. That can happen in entrepretherapy. And then, as finally to wrap it up, my favorite way to work with people is through consulting and strategic planning on a intimate retainer level. I have a handful of clients with whom we work together month after month to just kind of work through this chunk of getting all of their assets, evergreen assets, to be branded and, modernized, for lack of a better word. And then any new initiative that they want to take on. It's time for us to do a podcast. This year, we're going to do a keynote. Next year, we're going to write a book. That's a wonderful way in which you can work with Stoned Fruit and with me particularly. It's my absolute favorite. I love the intimacy of really working in deep partnership with somebody, and when I see them use the stuff I wrote for years to come, and it builds their business and it has sustainably stickiness, Mama is really, really happy. All right, you guys. So thank you. If you are still here, Kathleen and Tony, I much appreciate it. Maybe even Jody Krangle, if I'm lucky. This part of the second half of the show, we'll just really look at a couple examples and what you can expect when you work with Stoned Fruit and get some of these delightful things that I talked about. There is a wonderful page here on our website, stonedfruit.com/brand strategy, which will walk through some brand strategy stuff for you if you want to explore that more. And also, if you want to explore a newsletter or a monthly blog, something that happens month after month, consider Brand Jams, which is a subscription service in which we meet twice a month. The first meeting is a discovery session where essentially we get a deep brain dump and figure out what you want to talk about, and then that translates into copy that's delivered at our next meeting. It could be 4 emails that you send weekly. It could be 2 power blog posts. It could be 1 huge white paper, depending on your needs. But folks who engage with this are getting it as a subscription model. Oops. Let's actually share the screen. Let's do that. Let's share the screen. So that's this one. That one is stonedfruit.com/brandjams. Okay, so let's look at some stuff. If you are still with us, this is what it would look like if we actually work together. The first thing we'll look at is a newsletter. This is a newsletter that I produce for 304 Coaching. Anybody who's followed me on any of these programs has heard me talk about my girl, Jen Thornton, a lot. I've learned a ton from her about fear, innovation, leaving a reactive state and stepping into a creative state, being a leader, having a disruptive team. She is so fun to work with. I've been working with her for about 2.5 years on a variety of initiatives, including her podcast, Let's Fix Leadership. We're working on a keynote talk for next year. We developed a blog called What Else Could Be True. We've positioned her YouTube channel called Say This Not That. I didn't name that one, but it is adorable. And it is adorable, not but. But mostly the bread and butter that I do with my girl JT is to write a weekly email that goes out to her clients. She is an executive leadership coach. Her clients are C-suite or high-level, high-performing decision makers who are leading teams and trying to navigate the business arena in an ever-changing world. So this is pulling back the curtain. This is how the sausage gets made. I'm going to deliver a Google document, and without making everybody dizzy, the copy is just kind of plainly in a document. I share with her, we validate the copy, and then she sends it on to her administrative team so that they can create the assets they need to make this into a viable newsletter. Sometimes they're blog post worthy, and so you can see in the comments here that this one is going to make a really great blog post. And so we should cross-purpose this content for 2 platforms. So she's getting one newsletter, but it also serves as a blog post. And that is the cross-purposing of content that makes this work really worthwhile. It is promoting a podcast episode that she recorded. So this promotional email particularly. I've got a call out here to create a graphic for her graphics person to use in social media, etc. So the copy is just kind of speaking to me about how to create that in marketing mix and how to use it on our digital footprint. So this is a really cool way to kind of just look at what you could expect if you were having a ghostwriter at Stoned Fruit build some content out for you and create something in your voice. Jen, I just spent some time with her in Dallas, which was super awesome. And she took me to all these cool things. And I got to see some colleagues that we work with, which is really, really neat. And she said these emails really do get her attention and clients, which is obviously the ROI. That is the job. That is what we're trying to get to. So this is what you would get if you were kind of a Brand Jam subscription holder and getting 4 regular emails once a month based on your positioning and messaging strategy and what we were trying to accomplish. That is that one. Let's take a look at a website. Oh my God, actually sharing the media instead. Yay. Okay. One of my favorite things to do is website copy. I absolutely love it. I wouldn't say that I specialize in website copy, but it's one of my favorite things to do. It's just fun. It's like website copy, you're rolling out a red carpet for people. And it's just different than a LinkedIn profile or an email, welcome sequence. It's just got kind of a different animal and it's fun to play in. So sometimes I like to make pies, sometimes I like to make cookies, sometimes I like to make a pudding, as you were, and website copy is super fun. This is an interesting case study to look at because Unleashed Financial Advocates is a total rebrand for one of my oldest long-standing friends. She is just a one-of-a-kind bookkeeper who is able to help her clients see pitfalls, identify stale costs, keep more money in their pocket, just have a holistic approach to what they do. She's a staunch advocate for them. And so she came up with the name Unleashed Financial Advocates. And we worked with Calvin Crane Nelson to create this wonderful logo with our girl Zelda here. and did all the things. We've done a LinkedIn business page. We've done a website. We're working on jumpstarting her list right now. So this is a fun one to look at because you just see how copy kind of shows up. Is this the most elegantly designed WordPress supernova of a website? No, it's not. But that's actually a cool thing to look at because I know I'm biased, but I contend if you have awesome copy that hits people right where they live, you barely need any design at all. The designers are probably going to at me at the comments, and I agree. Aesthetically and functionality and helping people navigate their way through information, design needs to be there. But you can have a wonderfully designed site with terrible copy and have no movement or no conversion. You can have a plain white page and great copy and still convert customers. So I see you designers, but just saying, copy is pretty powerful. Okay, so here, this is just a great way of looking like what happens when you get website copy from us. We're going to write your homepage, including kind of all of the elements to it. We're going to help you get some graphics if you want to. Calvin did these as well with some really great taglines. We're going to make sure that your website has functionality, that people understand, the core things they need to know in order to work with you. We're going to write lots of interesting branded phrases for you to be able to work with. So you're going to get a home page. Woo. You're going to get an about page. You're going to get a contact us page. You're going to get a 404 error message. And if you want one, we're going to do a blog. This blog has been branded. It shouldn't just say the Unleash blog, but we're working with a developer to get the copy up there. So you're seeing something that's still a little bit in development, but it's fun to see how a blog that had the intention of being very clearly branded with who's it for, what do they need, who are we, what does this blog deliver, and why would anybody read this over other blogs? And it's starting to really show up in a cohesive way. So I thought it'd be worth just kind of like looking at all of these blog posts. All of these are Stoned Fruit blog posts that have been written, and just a way to fill her content strategy, fill Unleash's content strategy, and create something that people can engage in. Now, a blog isn't just a blog for no reason. I think that a blog is the most effective when it works in conjunction with whatever your sales strategy is. And by that, I mean that wouldn't it be great if when you were talking to a prospect, you had a blog post that would give them exactly reinforce what you communicated with already on the phone. So say you're in a sales cycle and you've got a client that's kind of on the hook. Here is a blog post. This is a great example about how to work with a bookkeeper. This isn't this isn't a blog post that necessarily pushes Unleashed Financial Advocates as a bookkeeper, although we don't shy away from that idea. It's really about best practices for how to work with a bookkeeper themselves. And so if you're a small business owner and you've been working with bookkeepers for years and they've never given you some education about how to best work with them, you could be spinning your wheels in terms of just being effective and efficient. If you knew, that it makes a lot of sense to empower your bookkeeper, find, an inside person who can work with that bookkeeper directly, or own the relationship, or, just essentially some best practices, how to work together, then you can have a more effective relationship. So this is just an example of how we strategically approach creating a branded blog and blog posts in which you can drop them in. Perhaps you already have a client that you started working with and they've got 1099 contractors. Here's one, the future proof for your bookkeepers best practices for 1099 management. Well, I'll say that 10 times fast, which is essentially a how-to, we've given you a little worksheet here. Step 1, step 2, step 3, how to work with 1099 people and make yourself not crazy in January. So there's this value add content that will help supplement your sales cycle. We're not just writing blog posts to write blog posts. Everything has a purpose and an intentionality around it. Shout out to Kathleen, who says the fact that we work with people for years speaks volumes about our abilities. I agree. Most of our retainer clients have been with us for 2.5 years until we work ourselves out of a job. Out of a job sometimes, and the business has to catch up a little bit, and then we stick around for the next initiative. But this is my favorite because the work gets better and better over time, which is awesome. All right, let's look at another website. Funsies. I'm in the world of numbers and finance. I started with bookkeeping, and now I'm with an accountant. These are great examples to look at because if we can make accounting, or if we can make some of the drier industries, or the more buttoned up or the more conservative industries pop when you have a disruptor or you've got somebody with a strong or a bold brand, then you've really made it. So I thought it would be cool to look at things that are accounting and bookkeeping. And so we wrote this website. We did not design it. This was designed by Dozer Dog Designs. And but we did do all of the copy. Make the most out of your campground investment without it taking the most out of you. That is my line. This is our copy. We advised on that video. We helped plan all this out. So, without belaboring the point or kind of scrolling through someone else's website, you can see this for yourself at campgroundaccounting.com, campgroundaccounting.com, and take a look. We wrote all of it. The about section, the frequently asked questions. Ooh, frequently asked questions. I'm going to tell you, this is such a wonderful opportunity to showcase your brand voice. I'm so glad we came to this. I love writing frequently asked questions. It's just so fun to be able to respond to them because you can be a little quirky. I've got QuickBooks. I'm good, right? QuickBooks Online does not a CPA make. The power of the platform is only as good as your understanding of accounting principles and the integrity of your entries. Commercial services and outsourced accounting offer no advice, no analytics, and no personal information. You can't replace a brain with an app. I mean, I want to work with this person immediately. And this is a wonderful time to just explore how the job of your website is to pre-sell your products and services. It's also to turn off people who aren't a good fit for you. So if you've got somebody who doesn't think an accountant should write like this, we received a scary notice from the IRS or a tax preparer, are we screwed? Then they're not for you, or they are for you. My bookkeeper keeps our accounting straight. What else do we need? Worry for the future can be extraordinarily intense for campground owners. After all, they have no backup. Like, this is just speaks right to the heart of your people. And I just love frequently asked questions. I encourage you to do them. They're very, very cool. Okay. So those are a couple of websites. That's a blog. That's a newsletter. Here's a wonderful piece that we've done. Here's some wonderful examples of think pieces that we've done. This is for my girl, Carrie Zukowski, whose business, CE Design and Execution. We've also done a bunch of copy for CE Design and Execution, and Carrie as a kind of as the face of that. And she is a corporate, what we call organizational optimization. She helps big name brands figure out what is the experience that I want my customers to have. How do I infuse brand and core values into that and then connect the dots back to operations to create a service delivery model that knocks your socks off. Some of this stuff is really hard to articulate. Good Lord. Some of this stuff is really hard to articulate. You have to explain how segmentation and specialization, born of technology, needs the right people in the right roles that then meet with big corporate company goals and then trickle down to have becoming an incredible experience that people remember and talk about. Like, essentially, how do you make big operational decisions at the top that impact word of mouth, optimize word of mouth, positive word of mouth marketing? It's not easy to articulate, and she is so clever about how she wants to bring these ideas to life by looking at them through the lens of everyday experiences. And so this one, when it comes up, is about planning her daughter's bat mitzvah. And so we wrote this fully realized article with layout and design that helps people who work in this environment think about what they need to think about in order to have an amazing experience for people. We worked with rock star Jody Wissing, who you've seen here on the Roll-Up before, in order to do this lineup, or in order to do the layout, which looks really cool with original pictures from Carrie. And it's just something that you'll never see anywhere else. You'll never see something this deeply impactful from just your everyday consultant, frankly. I think that this shows exactly the kind of attention to detail that Carrie pays when she's on some sort of a job. And that is the goal of our marketing in order to make that happen. I'm a little frozen here. I also redid this LinkedIn profile, FYI. And here's another one she did called Cruise Your Own Adventure. It literally took me 2.5 hours to come up with that title alone. I probably spent more time coming up with Cruise Your Own Adventure than I did on any other piece. But this is about her own family's experience on a cruise and how this kind of really old school industry was able to create a fresh and memorable experience by segmenting their audience and being very intentional about the customer journey and how to make that all happen, create unshakable brand loyalty and pure P&L power. Those are the kind of headlines we write here. So that's a fun thing to look at, are these deep white papers. And she can send this to a potential client. She can leave it behind at a conference. She can publish this. It's going to get eyeballs. Stand out like a meerkat in a massive mediocre. This does that. Transforming ordinary organizations into exceptional brands. Another Stoned Fruit tagline. Super, super fun. Okay, you guys. Muddling through our copy demonstration. Okay, this is one I really, really am excited to show you. This is kind of an old school thing that I've done, but this is a brand book. People haven't talked about brand books as much as they used to before the pandemic. And really, I don't think that they should lose popularity, because a brand book really becomes this codified tome of how you're going to express your brand across all kinds of channels. These are some of my favorite things to do. I will share that they're coming back. They're coming back in fashion, because I've heard a few other people start talking about brand books, which has me super excited because I'd love to see it come to life. This one is a great example for Thompson Premier Homes Group, because we did a ton of other work around their branded marketing and presentation that you can kind of see come to life and understand how this fits within the giant scheme of marketing itself. So it's not, I didn't have Jody lay this out. I did the best I could by myself because that's what we had. But you can see all of the elements that are in here. There's a purpose statement, there's positioning statement, there are core values, brand feelings, who's in the company, what are our activities in the company, and then a ton of branded assets, letterhead, business cards, logo. This is what most people think of when they think of brand. They think of just this aspect right here. What do the things look like? Letterhead, business cards, logo, template, social media, CRM, email signatures, blah, 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 blah. This is what people think of. And if you just look at this whole entire list, it is such a small portion of your entire brand presentation. We have to think about target market. We have to think about communications. We have to think about messaging. We have to think about our purpose, etc. Marketing plans. This is just a tiny little piece of it. This is the wedding cake, and we have to get to the vegans first. What a weird analogy. A lot of content in a brand book that I'll make. Of course, I want to write. The beautiful thing about that is that it creates, a wonderful welcome, to anybody who is coming on board with the company. So if you got this brand booklet, you can, assuming you would read it, and I'm writing so that they are read, you'd be able to experience the company in a way that's more than just shadowing someone around and making inferences. In addition to that, each one of these could be, look, that's an email right there. Secure say in your own quality of life, subject matter. Then, dear name, when your financial forecast is uncertain for good or bad, you're out in the elements without an umbrella. If your home secure, blah, 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 blah. That's an email. Assets, taxes, and taxes, adulting's new power couple. That's an email. In fact, we wrote, if I can get to this link, we wrote a blog post about it. Hopefully. I don't know if this still works. This is an old client. Let's see. It does. Look, we set up this medium. And now you have blog posts. All you had to do was add photographs and format it. Adulting step 1, employment. Adulting step 2, home ownership. Adulting step 3, A and B, marriage and or family for tax breaks. Adulting step 4, small business builder. Now we have a blog post. That came, oops, good Lord. Kathleen, I just don't do awesome with the tech. Here we are. Now it's a blog post. How wealth works. There we go. If you can see, this is exactly what I just read to you out of the brand book, only now it is in a blog post. So when you do the work of a brand book, you can repurpose it all over the place. You can make these graphics, learn how to play real estate. That's a t-shirt. It's a coffee mug. All of this stuff is what we're creating here for you is a copy repository in which you can go in and take whatever you need for 1,000 different purposes. Again, this is an email. This is a blog post. Redefine the American Dream. That's a program. It's a conference. It's a movement. It's a petition on change.org. We've got a positioning statement for these guys. Core values. Not just spread out on a bulleted list, but with a piece of narrative behind them so that you can understand them in context. Each one of these is an email. Equity is everything. Hashtagged, taglined, headlined. This was the money shot. This was the money shot. Be Black Excellence, so good. Branded feelings. Who's who? Wouldn't it be nice to know who the people are you're working with without having to make a bunch of guesses for who they are? Participation in the community. Again, blog posts, emails, newsletter. And then we get into some of the branded assets. You can download them, the print file, the Word file. So functional. So if you need the letterhead, there it is. If you need the business card, we have these done with partnership with Calvin Crane Nelson once again. He tightened up the logo and did some guidelines for that. PowerPoint template. Social media. We wrote all the stuff. I managed these for a little while. Not my favorite, but I will do it. The banners, all the things. I'm getting Zoom dizzy. You can take a look at this brand book on our website, I think, or email me, Rebecca Gunter at stonedfruit.com, and I'll share this brand book with you. We've got another one here we can just take a look at. This is one I did myself again. Armosa Studios video production company. Same similar deal that they wanted to share with their team. But again, everything here, here you are with a sales email. Here you are with a blog post, positioning, etc. So that's not tremendously exciting to look at here on a live stream, but that's, what a brand book can look like. Share this tab instead. So just a small, thank you, Kathleen, to letting me know I'm not showing you. You know why? Stream Leader. I'm Stream Leader. You know why? StreamYard. Because it's very difficult. It's very difficult to look at the camera and navigate the technology in a screen share. So I appreciate anybody who stuck this long while I fumbled through a presentation to just show you a little bit about what it would be like to work with Stoned Fruit. Who is Stoned Fruit? Again, content development micro agency. We're a brand voice articulator. We're a brand strategist. We work intimately with very spirited entrepreneur types, particularly if they are status quo smashers, upstream swimmers, or disruptors, or someone who wants to lean into a thought leadership brand. We are for you, and you can get, again, all kinds of copy to match, in addition to strategy and kind of this full robust presentation. That's us, y'all. That's what we do. It's a lot, a mouthful. If you've been here this long, I appreciate you so much, and thank you for muddling through screen shares and bouncy laptops as I navigate across the tabs, etc. But I sincerely wanted to take a moment and use our platform to shout out what we do as a business and why it's so important to us. And therefore, Stoned Fruit Roll-Up, that's the show you're watching right now. We generally say you're watching the show about building the show that you're watching right now. It really is our digital play space, our sandbox. Try and host essentially a virtual happy hour every Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and 5 p.m. GMT on YouTube and on LinkedIn. We often bring guests. We have exciting conversations. We showcase best practices. We do all the things. This is our play space to explore live streaming and digital media. If you'd like to come on the show, we'd love to have you. Email us at pitmaster, pitmaster at stonedfruit.com, or say something in the comments if you like. We'd love to have you on the show. You can also come on the show and get live coaching, which is super fun. And for that, you can apply at stonedfruit.com/coaching. So please do come on board. These solo shows are a labor of love, and the more you can distract me with coaching shows, the better. Otherwise, if you have questions, again, email me or put them in the comments. I am so grateful for your eyeballs for this amount of time. Tony, Kathleen, Jody Krangle, you guys are rocking my socks. I love you so much. We would never have this company if it weren't for you. And so thanks for all you do. And thanks for folks who came by and participated in all the things. Let's play our music out. Wow. It's just suddenly happened. Let's get some volume control going. Okay, everybody. We will see you. Oh, damn. Don't let me stop. We will see you next week. UK All Day 3, Tony and Jill. These are so fun. If you've haven't seen the UK All Days, or it's been a while, please join us. They'll be doing a very special Valentine's Day edition, and I'll be out with intergalactic intern Saturn Tay Gunter, as it is their 16th birthday. Happy birthday, Saturn. Have fun, UK All Day. I will see you back here in 2 weeks on the Stoned Fruit Roll-Up. Bye, everybody.